Tonight, our beaches shut down. The Gold Coast on high alert as Cyclone Alfred closes in. Locals prepare for the worst, sandbagging stations at capacity as floods threaten to inundate our city. We're live with the latest warnings. Plus new details into a wild shooting at Burleigh. And the proactive suburb training up its own CPR soldiers.
Live from 50 Carroll Avenue, Surfers Paradise. This is 9 Gold Coast News with Eva Milic.
Good evening. Our city is tonight on high alert as Tropical Cyclone Alfred closes in on our coast. Authorities say the next 48 hours are critical for preparation, with the system's current path putting the city in the worst possible position.
Cars queuing for kilometres.
We've been here about a bit over an hour and a half.
I've been waiting for about 2.5 hours.
Burleigh Heads, one of 3 sandbagging stations, kept busy today, the first test of Tropical Cyclone Alfred. The system already stirring up powerful swell, likely to cross as a Category 2 near the Sunshine Coast by Friday.
Oh my God!
Under the current model, where it crosses, we could see 300 to 400 millimetres of rain.
A high tide could make the aftermath even worse.
That would provide some storm surge issues.
Flood watches already in place for river and creek catchments. Island communities also a significant concern.
Korean Cove, for instance.
Strong winds set to wreak havoc as well.
We potentially may get gusts of 130 kilometre-hour winds. So what in your yard can be picked up, and let's start securing those now.
Residents in low-lying areas are being urged to start thinking about their emergency plans. Evacuation centres will start to open from Thursday, but where those will be is still up in the air.
Today and tomorrow is the determination of where do you live in the Gold Coast, what are the possible scenarios and where are the decisions that you'll make.
At Pacific Pines, the panic buying has begun.
We are asking people to look at a 72-hour pack, get your batteries organised, get your phones charged up.
At this stage, schools are still open.
We will update each afternoon what is happening for the following day.
Residents urged not to take any risks on the roads as major events like the Green Day concert hang in the balance. Paige Van Lunteren, 9 Gold Coast News.
The effects of Tropical Cyclone Alfred are already being felt across the coast. Locals now warned to stay alert and out of the water as wild winds and treacherous surf force all beaches to close.
Fireworks in Surfers Paradise last night. Wild winds sending sparks fly. The effects of Tropical Cyclone Alfred slowly rearing its ugly head. This morning, turbulent seas lashed the coastline, creeping up the path to Currumbin Surf Lifesaving Club, swallowing low-lying car parks.
It's a washing machine.
It's very churned up, yeah. It's certainly not its peaceful self.
Lifeguards forced to close all Gold Coast beaches.
So our lifeguards are still in place just in case. There's no flags. We don't recommend anyone down on the sand or in the water.
Some locals have seen it all before, nervous about what could come.
I remember back in '74 when I was a little nipper down here, and it's not as big now as what it was then, but when it came up, it was right up to this fence here behind us here.
While others ignore the warnings, testing the water's rage. 2 surfers forced to face the consequences yesterday, rescued after being swept out at Duranbar.
Here in Burleigh, the swell is already 2.5 metres, with conditions forecast to worsen throughout the week. Cyclone Alfred threatening even larger waves.
Definitely on that run-out tide, places like around the creek mouths, Crumman Alley and the Seaway and Tullabudger Creek, there'll be a lot of water moving out as well, so that's another thing to add a bit of caution for the swimmers. So it is a spectacle. Come and check it out from a distance, but just stay safe and out of the water and off the beach at this point.
Bella Schwarzenegger, 9 Gold Coast News.
Let's go straight to weather expert Luke Bradnam now. Luke, what is the latest tracking data?
Eva, Tropical Cyclone Alfred, currently about 500 kilometres northeast of us on the Gold Coast, still tracking away from the coast this afternoon, but on the latest forecast tracking map, you can see it all changes tomorrow. It will make a beeline for the southeast Queensland coast. Now, forecast to hit between Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast late on Thursday, possibly Friday morning, as a Category 2 cyclone. That means winds gusting from 125 kilometres to 164 kilometres an hour, and it's not good news for us on the Gold Coast. The southern side of a cyclone sees not only the strongest winds, but also the heaviest of the rainfall. Let's have a look at the projected rainfall totals for us here on the Gold Coast. The forecast is for anywhere from 200 up to 600 millimetres of rain, and that's not taking into account the possibility of thunderstorms, which are almost inevitable. We're also going to see our shoreline cop an absolute battering. The swell set to get a whole lot bigger. Already, the Queensland Surf Lifesaving Champs, which was set to get underway March 7 and 8, have been cancelled. Eva, I think it's the start of a long list of events that will get cancelled, but I'll be back later to let you know exactly how big that swell will get. The full forecast coming up shortly.
OK, we'll be watching with interest, Luke. Thank you. Joining me now is Gold Coast City Acting Mayor Donna Gates. Donna, thanks for joining us. What should residents be doing to prepare?
They should be securing any outdoor furniture and any object in their backyards that might become a missile. If they live in high-rise, they need to bring their furniture off the balconies, bring it inside. Getting prepared, getting an evacuation plan in place, and making sure that their gutters are all clear, because obviously the heavy rain might impact their homes.
So at this stage, Donna, are there any particular locations of concern?
It's very, very widespread, but South Stradbroke is a concern, and tomorrow from 5 a.m. the council will go over with a barge and we'll be trying to encourage voluntary evacuations of South Straddy tomorrow.
OK, importantly, Donna, how will council be keeping residents up to date?
We'd urge residents to Google the dashboard, the Gold Coast City dashboard. That will have all the latest information available, including mapping. They can also Google Get Ready for all of the tips about how to secure your home and make sure you're ready for this event. OK, very good advice there, Donna. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome.
A man has been charged following a terrifying standoff with police, ending only when he was shot by an officer in the leg. The incident locking down part of Burleigh, with residents told to stay inside.
A major response to an escalating threat.
He just got shot.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Police say 33-year-old Dean Bostock lunged at a senior constable while armed with 2 machetes when they were forced to open fire.
They went there, they confronted the threat, they took care of the threat, and they helped the threat.
The Burleigh Heads man was then rushed to Gold Coast University Hospital, this marking the end of a terrifying ordeal for residents nearby Gardenia Grove, who rang the alarm calling 000 several times just before 7 p.m. on Saturday, when they say they saw a man wielding a chainsaw and making threats.
He was just roaming the streets, chainsaw blaring.
Bostock has since been released from hospital and has now been slapped with several serious charges, including going armed so as to cause fear and serious assault on a police officer.
He was subject to a prison guard, then charged and stayed in custody overnight to ensure his appearance today.
No application for bail was made at Southport Magistrates Court today, while the officer who fired the shot has been offered support.
He's taking some time off as per our critical incident leave with a number of officers, so it just gives them time to come up for air, per se.
The incident remains under investigation. Emily Saunders, 9 Gold Coast News.
Light rail shutdown causes traffic mayhem across the coast. So what forced the city's trams into a major halt? Plus, the proactive suburb training up its own CPR soldiers. And we remember loved local triathlete Jenny Alcorn.
Panic buying, sandbagging and warnings of major closures. Millions of Queenslanders preparing for the first cyclone in 50 years to cross the southeast Queensland coast. The very latest Weather Bureau tracking, plus the simple checklist to stay safe in your home during this severe weather event. 9 News at 6.
Somehow, we've been led to believe that older is boring. Hidden inside some kids are old souls with a laugh that could have been around for centuries and a fierce spirit of independence. And hidden inside most over 50-somethings are those same kids. It's your life. So, what are you waiting for?
New homes are now selling at Gem Life Gold Coast. Find out more at gemlife.com.au.
To breaking news now, and the threat of Cyclone Alfred has forced the closure of several theme parks across the coast. All Village Roadshow attractions are set to be shut until at least Friday, while Dreamworld will make a decision tomorrow morning. SeaWorld Resort will remain open. Commuters were faced with significant delays this morning after trams were forced to a halt. A technical fault between Southport South and Broadbeach South, stopping all travel between the stations. Buses were called in to replace the service, which was back up and running by 12:30 this afternoon. These days, as we get older or are placed under more stress, there's the potential threat of having a heart attack. Patrina Zaffa went to check out the neighbourhood taking affirmative action.
Most people learn resuscitation as part of a job or through a community organisation. Now the residents of Clover Hill are recruiting and training their very own CPR army.
We need a defibrillator on this patient as soon as we can, because that's going to be the thing that's going to get their heart started again.
I had a bit of a heart scare back in November, and the people around me in the room, none of them knew CPR, and I was really clueless as to where the nearest defib was. And whilst I was in hospital having my various tests and whatever, it got me thinking about the local community here and really the gap between that 000 call and the ambulances coming. And it was a gap that needed filling, basically. We needed to get CPR trained people out in the streets.
One of our neighbours his wife actually performed CPR on him, and he's alive because of that. It just brings you all together, and you know where the people are that, you know, are the CPR soldiers that can help.
Shock will be delivered in 3, 2, 1. Shock delivered.
My goal is to make 4213 the safest place in Australia to have a cardiac arrest. So everybody is close enough to a defib, everybody's close enough to a CPR soldier to make a difference at their time of need.
Depending on the success of this model and gaining more sponsorship, Stewart is hopeful they can roll this out across the city, much in the same way as Neighbourhood Watch.
Sadly, world-renowned triathlete and supercoach Jenny Alcorn has lost the biggest race of her life. The 65-year-old passing away this morning from her fight against an aggressive type of brain cancer. For 35 years, she was at the helm of the Surfers Paradise Tri Club, her club alongside devoted family and friends, rallying around her over her 16-month battle. She will be so very missed. The Gold Coast on high alert. Are we prepared for Cyclone Alfred? We look back at the city's wildest weather events. We're live to the Star as the Titans prepare to launch their 2025 season. And the Suns with 4 in doubt for their season opener against the Bombers.
Good evening from the Star Gold Coast, where the Titans will tonight launch their 2025 season. Now, there won't be an action until round 2 against the Bulldogs at Belmore, but there's still plenty of excitement building among players and among fans. But there's also a sprinkling of nerves as pressure mounts on Des Hasler's men.
There's a feeling around the Titans that this year is their year, but we've heard that before.
Every year, we're always confident, but I think, everyone knows, and even myself, it has to work this year, or else, we're all gone.
Jokes aside, the second rower has no plans to leave, content with his decision to remain on the Gold Coast after last year's near successful pursuit by the Roosters.
I'm excited that I've ended up staying here, with my mates and my family, so I'm looking forward to what we can do this year.
The debacle muddying waters for Fafita ahead of the 2024 Origin period, overlooked for Maroon's selection despite a strong run of form.
I didn't earn it last year, I guess. I'm in my playing habits and stuff like that, but looking back, I'm excited to, prove everyone wrong, I guess.
The first 10 weeks of the season crucial as the edge forward returns from off-season ankle surgery to make his case to Queensland coach Billy Slater.
I just want to be there and, I want to play with them players that get selected in that side because I'm a Queenslander, but I've got to earn it.
Fafita and his teammates will be joining me here at the Star Gold Coast very shortly to launch their season, where we will speak to recently injured Kieran Foran about the season ahead, and we'll have that for you coming up in 9 News at 6. To the Suns now, and Damien Hardwick's men have started their week training out of the rain, but could be getting very wet when they launch their new look season at Carrara on Saturday. Gold Coast suffering an 84-63 loss to the Swans on Friday, but they've taken confidence from their final pre-season hit out.
We looked at our metrics and we stacked up pretty well. There's just some things that we need to improve on that we think will have a significant difference.
Charlie Ballard and Mac Andrew are among 4 players in doubt for the season opener against Essendon. Golfers teeing off at this week's WPGA Championship are spending time between practice sessions on rides at Dreamworld. Jordan O'Brien with a hometown edge heading into the first standalone women's competition, proud to be a part of the sports diversification.
It's an awesome opportunity for all us girls, and for it obviously to be co-sanctioned with LET is another awesome opportunity, and to be in the backyard where I live as well, it's even better. You can sleep in your own bed.
The tournament is due to start on Thursday, weather permitting. But Eva, lots of fun to be had here at the Star Gold Coast tonight for the Titans 2025 season launch. Fingers crossed they have a great season ahead.
Indeed, big night for the local lads there. Thank you very much, Bronte. Cyclone Alfred moves closer to the coast, but are we prepared for what's to come? We take a look back at some of the city's wildest weather events.
And winds picking up across the city this afternoon. A short time ago at the Seaway, winds gusting just over 60 kilometres an hour. Set to get a whole lot stronger though, and I'll let you know when those damaging wind gusts will arrive. The full forecast coming up next.
Our city has been devastated by cyclones many times during its long history. Tonight, we look back at some of the major events that shaped our landscape.
Some say it comes with the territory, a coastal city vulnerable to extreme weather events. 54, 62, 74, some of the worst cyclones to hit our city. Surfers' paradise heading for the surf.
During 1 week, it received 8 times its normal monthly rainfall, and widespread flooding followed.
The bridge at Nerang, it got so high that Panitz's boat floated over the bridge.
The army brought in to help hundreds of locals sandbag the foreshore. Crumpled car bodies were dumped to form a makeshift wall. Bulldozers pushing sand over old 44-gallon drums, and excavators bouncing on the beach almost washed away in the waves.
We walked out there, we had water all in our house, and down on the coast, and it was water from Nerang to the sea.
The southern Gold Coast was also badly affected. Kira was awash. This unsuspecting family knocked off their feet by the sheer force of nature.
The Kira Point groin was built to protect Coolangatta Beach, and another groin to stabilise Currumbin.
Fast forward to December 2023, and a mini tornado wipes out parts of our city.
Everyone get in the caravan!
Hopefully something we and our beaches are better prepared for this time around. Katrina Zaffa, 9 Gold Coast News.
Now here's Melissa with all the big and breaking stories coming up for you in 9 News at 6.
Thanks, Eva. Coming up in just a few minutes, panic buying, sandbagging and warnings of school closures and major services. Tonight, as millions of Queenslanders prepare for the first cyclone in 50 years to cross the southeast coast, we have everything you need to know, from the very latest Weather Bureau tracking to the simple checklist to stay safe in your home. Then all the Oscars, red carpet glitz and shock winners, plus the gifts set to top every child's wish list at the largest toy fair in the Southern Hemisphere. All of those stories, plus the rest of today's breaking news, coming up right after your local weather. See you then.
Thank you, Melissa. And Luke is back with us right now with the full forecast. Luke, when are we likely to see these winds really strengthen?
They are quite strong this afternoon, Eva, but nothing in comparison to what is on our way. The Bureau a short time ago just updated the warning for us on the Gold Coast from Wednesday, the possibility of those damaging wind gusts commencing, and that's potentially up to 120 kilometres an hour from Wednesday. With that, obviously, we're really going to see the seas deteriorate. The swell at the moment off the coast is around 5 metres. Could be triple that by the time Alfred really narrows in close to the coastline. I'll show you some of the surf action from today in just a moment. Let's have a look at how today unfolded. Now, we woke to showers around the city this morning. Suddenly, winds quite strong as we woke, but they really strengthened throughout the course of the day, up over 60 kilometres an hour this afternoon at the Seaway. And temperature-wise, as you'd expect, she was a cool one. Temps only 26, 27 degrees for all of us. The feels like temp even cooler. Right now here in Surfers Paradise, 22 degrees. Tomorrow's weather map, it's all about tropical cyclone Alfred, expected to make a beeline for the southeast Queensland coast, crossing between Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast late Thursday, early Friday, potentially as a Category 2 cyclone. Tomorrow here on the Gold Coast, heading for a top of 30 and dropping down to 20 overnight. And then looking ahead, we've got a lot of rain in the forecast. Possible cyclone heading our way on Thursday. Falls of up to 100 millimetres both Friday and Saturday. Now, for the board riders, have a look at this. It's as good as we've seen for many years today down on the southern point breaks. Will be again tomorrow. Can't stress it enough, though. Only for experienced board riders out there. We'll have all beaches closed again tomorrow, Eva, and that high tide around 11 a.m. Keep up to date with all the latest warnings.
Some very nervous days ahead, Luke. Thank you. And that is your local news this Monday. If you have a story to share, just visit our Facebook page. The southeast bracing for inundation. Here's Melissa with the very latest. From all of us, good night.